And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. It is Friday, April 21st, 2023. Another program here from us all here at the Backstage Pass as we feature artists throughout the week here, up and comers in the industry. And of course, you never know who's coming here on the program every day between 3:30 and 6:30. Presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. If you haven't checked them out, we love to drink here on the show. You guys know that. Bangtail.com, also the Total Wine and Specs in Nashville, and easyliquor.com. Put your order in there. About to really bust their way into different states out there too. Love it. It's for you. You'll love that tingle you get from drinking Bangtail whiskey. Also, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas, of course, and definitely our friends at Gentle Ben Spirits, a new way of doing drinks out there, removing all the impurities and making a smooth experience for you. The vodka, the gin, the bourbon is outstanding. Check them out at gentleben.com, the tasting room in Alvin, Texas, or go by and actually check out too as well. Minute Maid Park, a Gentle Ben bar just outside the Crawford boxes there with the Houston Astros. My good friend Ricky Ford, class of 85 with the Texas A&M Aggies. Appreciate him being a part of the program. The Presedo process, it is Gentle Ben. Well, pleased to welcome in my featured artist of the day here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguys podcast.com. He was born to ride. The people that he's with are born to ride. That's the latest single across all the digital platforms. Texas country artist Chaser Crouch here to the program. Chase, what's going on, brother?
Oh, nothing much. Just enjoying to be here.
I like that couch. You've got it kind of, I love the background. It's just set up to relax, and that's what we're going to do here over the next 30 minutes here.
Yeah.
Have a good time. Have us a glass of our favorite drinks and just enjoy here. With it being Friday, too, and just the weekend is right there around the corner. Hey, I want to get your story because I love the fact is, growing up there, Corsicana, which is a beautiful town. I had a chance to visit there this past Christmas. I love everything they do, from the decorations downtown there to the festivities to the restaurants to all the shopping too. But I know most of the life there, you kind of took care of horses. You were in a lot of contests, things like that too as well. Kind of, working cattle for your grandpa. So kind of, it just feels like country music it just came naturally to you, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've from day one. I mean, my dad's a horse trainer, and I've always been involved with horses, cattle. My dad, my grandfather, he ran cattle for a long time. Was always involved in that, and so as, my earliest memories when I was little was riding in the truck with my granddad, checking cattle, working cattle, doing whatever, and then being out in the arena with my dad, working horses, and then going to shows every single weekend, showing horses.
Mm-hmm. Talk about just picking up that guitar at an early age and performing the horse shows, singing in church, things like that too. And I guess did the chords kind of come easy? Everybody says, with great country music, 3 chords in the truth and things like that. But, picking up the guitar at a young age and playing at those shows and stuff like that, I'm sure that had to build confidence and letting you know what you kind of wanted to do for the rest of your life, huh?
Well, I knew it, music kind of was a weird thing, the way it kind of happened. I've always loved music since I was little, obviously. And I think everybody, has a soft spot for music. But, I mean, as I was little, I got in a couple like little talent shows and stuff, and I had some guitar teachers here and there. And it was always something that it was kind of just a dream, like I never thought it would happen. I never knew where it would go, but it was just like, I always thought it'd be so cool to be up on stage with those guys one day. For, George Strait, Tim McGraw, I mean, Cody Johnson, Toby Keith. I mean, there's all kinds of people I listened to back then. And I slowly picked it up, and then I didn't really do anything with it for the longest time. And finally, I had a buddy at a horse show one weekend, and he had a guitar, and it'd been a while since I played. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, you mind if I play that real quick? Like, I used to play, see if I could remember anything." Mm-hmm. And I was probably 15 years old, and I picked it up and started playing. And then it was like, after that, I started getting more steady with it. And I put it down. It's been splotchy. I've put it down, and, for 6 months or so, I put it down for a long time when COVID happened. But with it here in the past year and a half now, year and a half, 2 years, I've been steady with it, and I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love it.
Talk about just the being young and of course you're still trying to learn all that and soak all that in and watching those guys do what they do up there, all those great names you mentioned there, being on stage and how they work a crowd, things like that too. And then of course, getting that exposure for you at a very young age, talent shows in Fort Worth. You were 14, National High School Rodeo Finals in Wyoming, making the top 10 live performances there for these talent shows. They seem like those things really kind of build confidence. And I mean, definitely as you get older, you get stage presence, you get stage experience, you learn how to work a mic, work a crowd. Did those talent shows kind of key in, kind of do it for you? I guess you could say key in on.
Well, I mean, I was in those couple of talent shows, and the weird thing about me is I've always been like so shy, especially when it come to playing music in front of people. Like I wouldn't hardly play at all unless it was just like my parents, and I'd annoy the heck out of them because I'd play 24/7, and at that point in time it didn't sound that great, so they were they had to listen to a dying squirrel 24/7 sometimes. But no, I mean it did. It helped the confidence a little bit, but and heck, I still to this day I'm still trying to build confidence, get a better stage presence, learning more about working the mic. But if you would have asked if where I'm at now, if you'd asked me 2 years ago if I would be where I'm at, I would have said no. There's no way you would get me up at up on this big stage in front of however many people's there and sit there and talk to the crowd and go through and play a 3-hour set in front of all these people. I mean, there was no way. I was scared going down here, Taylor Smokehouse. I used to do open mic nights there every Thursday night, and it kind of turned into my show as we went on. Like it kind of turned in. It got handed over to me. They asked me if I could start doing the open mic night because the guy that was doing it, he was moving away, and I was like, yeah, sure. And that that helped me a lot with getting used to playing in front of people, and I did that for a long time. I mean, every Thursday night I was out there playing, and it kind of turned in a little bit of my show. I mean, like I try to encourage people to get up there and play, but there wasn't always somebody there. So there's times I'd show up and it's pretty much just a little gig for me, and I'd sit there and play. We'd eat some food, and my family and everybody, they'd show up. So we had a lot of fun there, and it definitely helped me grow as far as just getting used to a crowd and playing the guitar in front of people.
Yeah, definitely building that confidence. Yeah, no doubt about it too. And then, like you said, it's different when you're playing for a crowd compared to playing for friends or family, that kind of thing. I want to kind of dive more into this showing cutting horses, things like this, because that was a big focus in high school, and you got to do a lot of cool things. Which National High School Rodeo national champion, boys cutting horse competition. Kind of talk about that, and that's another kind of cool thing that keeps you connected to music, the industry, and people that love rodeos as much as we do now. I mean, obviously, we have one of the biggest ones in the country with the Houston Stock Rodeo that takes place every year. You seem like you kind of had a just very fond of livestock and especially horses, right?
Oh yeah, and, that's kind of a funny thing too, because when I was little, like real little, I wasn't that interested in it because like that's all I ever knew. That's all I was ever around, and it got boring to me. And I hardly ever showed when I was little. I was more a baseball kid. I was playing baseball every weekend if I wasn't at a show, and baseball practice throughout the week. Whatever, select teams and whatnot. But then finally I got tired of hanging out with all my buddies at the horse shows, and they would get to talk about their runs, them winning the class or, them cheering on each other. And I'm over here, I'm not showing or doing anything. So like, I didn't have a bond with them anymore. It felt like I was losing that because they were all bonding through showing horses, and I was sitting on the sidelines just watching. So I told my parents one weekend, I was like, I think I'm on a haul for the world, which is, what we do, for the NYCHA, National Youth Cutting Horse Association. You got your top 15 in the world. And like when you're hauling, you're going every single weekend, you're showing against the best of the best to try to win the world and show at Fort Worth at the end of the year. And I finally told them, I was like, hey, I'm going to do this. And they laughed at me is the best part.
Mm-hmm.
They literally laughed at me. They're like, you got to like ride and like actually go show a horse every weekend, right? And I was like, yeah, I got this. We'll do it. And sure enough, that year I ended up reserve world champion, and I was neck to the neck with a previous world champion. Like, I mean, she'd already won it once or twice before, and I was sitting there. We were, swapping places, I was going from first to second, every other weekend, and it came right down to the end of it, and I ended up losing the world title by 4 points, and got reserve world champion. And it was funny because, you could ask anybody that knew me before that year started. You could have asked them, like, hey, who's going to be giving so-and-so a run for the money at the end of the year? And I wouldn't have been nowhere. Like, I just kind of popped up out of nowhere and started showing and doing good. So I was, very blessed to have really good horses. And, with my dad being the trainer, we were already going shows every weekend. And, he put me on as good a horses that he could possibly. And I just had I had a lot of fun doing it too. But it definitely helped me grow as well, as far as just like maturity, like, having a responsibility of taking care of these horses, and then, making sure that I'm ready to go in the show pen and like be competitive. And, I did that for 6 years. I mean, I started that first year and I didn't stop until I was out of high school, until senior year of high school was over with. And then in between all that, I high school rodeoed as well, and went to nationals 4 years in a row, won it 2 of the years that I went. And, but I had a good run showing horses, and I still show every now and then for my dad. I help him out every now and then when I can, when I'm not doing gigs.
Well, I'll tell you what, it definitely teaches you the value of hard work and really keeps you in there on the mental side of things, and understand how important it is to, take care of animals, and definitely, the fact is you find something you love doing. I mean, it's not work. Yeah. And it's cool that you can have so much success in something that you enjoy, and really become a national champion at it too as well. So congratulations on that too. And just, doing something you love, and really, I love horses just as much as you do. You probably more than me, but at the same time, haven't been around them for your whole life too. But I love to ride, and that's why we're going to talk about this single called Born to Ride, which came out February 24th of this year. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you do that across all the digital platforms. We're going to come back, and he's going to play that very song for us here on the Backstage Pass. We got to take a timeout, pay some bills here. Hell of a Night FM station, or a couple of singles out there across all the digital platforms you guys also want to check out too as well. We'll talk about those and so much more here. Again, it's Chaser Crouch here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. And like I said, next week, the NFL draft coming up on Thursday night in prime time from Kansas City. We'll talk more about that here over the next couple of weeks too as well, leading into the draft next week too. We'll come back more with Chaser Crouch Performance coming up here. Right now, a word from one of our sponsors. Hang tight.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And they're doing it right there. The Presado process, based out of Alvin, Texas. Go by and check out the tasting room. It's Gentle Ben. Gentle Ben spirits out there, the vodka, the gin, the bourbon. I'm hooked. I drink it. It's a lot of fun out there. Can make a lot of cool things, different cocktails with it too as well. That Presado process, the science behind it is amazing. And in talking to Ricky Ford, you learn something about it every day. All the impurities are gone. The burn is gone. It's a smooth experience. Hence the name Gentle Ben. If you're by the Crawford boxes at Minute Maid Park, watching the Astros play, you can go by the Gentle Ben bar there too as well. And keep them busy. Keep them busy because they keep us busy here on the Backstage Pass. Also, thanks to Honky Tonk Texas and our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Back here with Chaser Crouch on the Backstage Pass. Born to Ride is the current single, brother, and it is all yours. And take it away.
All right. Drives all day just to ride one time. It's back on the road to the next rodeo. It's not about the fame, it's not about the glory. It's all about the buckle at the end of the story. San Antonio to Amarillo, El Paso to Houston rodeo. She's burning bright with fire in her eyes. She's chasing those dreams in her headlines. She was born to ride. Cowboy chaser every chance I can. Give me one night, then she's off again. Her heart's been bitten by the thrill of the game. And though she's hard to tame. San Antonio to Amarillo, El Paso and Houston rodeo. She's burning bright with fire in her eyes. Chasing those dreams in her headlines. My baby's born to ride. She was born to ride. Red Bull nights, open road, Straight and Jones on the radio, fading stars on sunburn days, another rodeo. San Antonio, Amarillo, El Paso, Houston rodeo. She's burning brown with a fire in her eyes, chasing those dreams. San Antonio, Amarillo, El Paso, Houston rodeo. She's burning bright with a fire in her eyes. She's chasing those dreams in her headlines. She was born to ride. My baby's born to ride. She was born to ride.
That's it right there. Born to Ride from Chaser Crouch here on the Backstage Pass across all the digital platforms. Love that one. Came out there February 24th. And hey, the day after my birthday. Turned another year old, Feb 23rd of February. That's when I started listening to it. The next day it came out, too. Sometimes you forget your birthday, too, back there, February the 23rd. Song came out the 24th, and, of course, is doing real well right now across all the different Red Dirt, Texas charts out there, too. We'll get an update on that. Tell us how you came, because I know you love to write, and Davey was telling me this, too, while we were in Nashville kind of covering CRS, too. This one just kind of had a really good feel, throwback. You mentioned about at the top of the show that late 90s to early 2000s type of country. This one just had a feel-good story to it. And, I mean, you really smashed it, I think, with the vocals. And, man, the writing behind this is very real.
Oh, I think cutting out a little bit.
Now, I was just saying, in the song itself, like coming up with the concept of this one, this had a feel of that 90s country to early 2000s kind of feel to it. Really good lyrics in the song, and I really like what you did vocally with the song Born to Ride. Tell me about a little backstory of how it came to be, because this is really good writing in this song. Lyrically, it's really good.
Thank you. Well, I had 3 songs at the time that I, was writing that I kind of had the idea for it, and nothing, it bothered me that, they were kind of one, my first one, which was Hell of a Night, and it's kind of, it's a little bit of a back road party song, hanging out with my buddies here back home, and then I had 2 heartbreak songs, I guess you'd call them after that. So it was, yeah. And I just was like, I needed something that was more of my background, something about me, the way I grew up, to really kind of show a different side. And I went to my buddy one night, Taylor Lewis, and actually I just met him. I hadn't known him for very long. We met at an open mic night one night, and I texted him, and he was right down the road from one of the open mic nights that we were going to. I was like, hey, I want to write a song, and I got an idea for it. He was like, all right, come on. So I showed up at the house there, and I think in an hour we pretty much had the song wrote. I showed up with a tune and a couple of lyrics at the beginning, and then we just kind of ran with it. And it has changed a lot since then. I mean, it has changed the lyrics, and there's been a lot of stuff taken out and added to it from what the original product was. But I couldn't be more happy where it's at. And, it shows that other side of me, my rodeo side, my background of, everybody in my family at some point in time has been involved with rodeo, whether, in some form or fashion. I mean, my grandfather was a bulldogger back in the day. My mom was a goat tire. Both my grandmothers were barrel racers. My dad's trained horses since he was a teenager. So it's like everybody in my family has been a part of rodeo. So I just had to do something about that. And that's really where it came from.
Yeah, it really has a good feel. It describes you, like you said, all the family, the background, being involved in something that you guys love. We mentioned cutting and showing horses, things like that too, and just having something about your life to be able to kind of depict and really tell a story out there, which tells your story in your own way. And I thought the lyrics were really good. And I was telling David, just some other people I talked to today in the industry, man, it's one of my favorite songs out there across all the digital platforms. Back to Hell of a Night, because this one really got on the Spotify Texas, one of the Red Dirt country. This went top 30. This was, you mentioned that party song that kind of, feel good back home, kind of, being with the buddies type thing. And I'm sure even today, did you kind of get a feeling of, when that came out, that would kind of make a top 30 splash for you?
No, I had no clue. That song was, honestly, I didn't even want to release that song because I thought it was too, I thought it was too like, kind of like, I don't know, not hillbilly, but it just wasn't really completely my style. And I didn't know if I wanted to release it or not, but I had people begging me to release it. And it was a way to test the waters. I had it, and it wasn't done professionally. I mean, I recorded that in my buddy's apartment, and he did all the sound on it. He played lead guitar, the rhythm guitar. He played drums. He played bass. I mean, he did all the mixing. He did everything, and didn't charge me a thing. And I mean, he just helped me out a lot with it. And everybody's like, you need to release it and get it out there. And it did really good. I mean, I was looking at the other night, and it's got 43,000 something streams on Spotify, which I know to some people that might not be a lot, but for me, like, that's a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't think there'd be that many people that want to listen to my music, and they're still listening to it to this day.
That's a lot, my friend. When you say 40,000 of anything, that's kind of a lot too. I'll tell you what's cool is also getting a chance, like you mentioned, to gather some of that stage presence, almost like going back to school, from opening up for artists that we've talked to here on the program. Rich O'Toole, Brandon Ryder, a couple of guys you've had a chance to kind of run the roads with out there too as well. Talk to me about that experience, watching a guy like Rich who's still out there at the top of his game doing what he's doing, and Brandon Ryder too as well.
Yeah, that was when I opened up for them. that was at the Cowboy Club in Mahia, and that was right before COVID started up.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'd never opened for anybody. I'd barely done any type of shows before. And a guy called me. He's like, "Hey, I want you to open up for Brandon Ryder and Rich O'Toole, 45 minutes or to an hour, and get up there and just do a solo, you and your guitar, whatever, and I'll pay you." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll try it." And I was nervous. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of, stage presence. I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of anything. Heck, and being up there an hour sounded insane to me. Whereas, like, it's crazy because now I'm doing 3-hour shows, and I like doing 3-hour shows. I enjoy it because I have so much material now that, it takes 3 hours to get to play everything that I want to play. But, back then, that experience, I mean, it was pretty surreal. Like, I mean, it went really well. People, seemed to really enjoy it. I had a lot of people coming up to me and saying they loved it. I got to talk to Rich and Brandon a little bit, so that was neat. And actually, I saw Brandon Ryder for the first time since then last year at the Texas Country Music Awards. There, I think that's what it's called, at Billy Bob's.
Yeah.
So I saw him during the after party, and I went up to him and talked to him. I was like, "Hey, you remember me? I opened for you way back when and stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, I remember that name. I remember you." And this and that. It's like, good. The name. Remember the name. That's all I need to know. But that was pretty cool that he actually remembered, something that long ago. And, it's a little of a show that was for him, which was huge for me. And which sadly, but thankfully, COVID started up right after that. And the guy that hired me, he told me, he's like, "Get you a band together. Come back in 90 days. I want you to do a full gig, 3-hour show with a band." And then that next month, COVID started and everything was shut down, which I'm happy for because I was nowhere near the point to be doing something like that at that extent. Like, I didn't have near the experience to be able to do a good job doing it. Now, I probably could have got it done, but it wouldn't have been very good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having a band for sure, like, that would have been hard because I played with a band. Even now, I've played with a band only a handful of times. And I'm working on getting a band right now. I'm trying to get one, sometime this summer, by the end of this summer. But I'm glad that it happened the way it did because it gave me more time to learn more material, get more experience, and do some smaller stuff before I really kind of stepped up a little bit and started doing bigger stuff.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I loved. Brandon came on. He talked about it too. We talked a lot about his full-length album that came out in 2017, and I loved songs like he had called "Let's Blow Off Monday" and "Shake" and "No Time for That" too. And of course, if you listen to a lot of his stuff now, he had one of the best ones, "Under the Lights on Friday Night," which came out last June too. So I mean, a very knowledgeable guy in the business. They've been around a long time. Rich is still doing his thing, and he just put out a single in March called "Texas Is My Home." So those guys are staying busy, doing their thing, still playing the roads, and hitting it very strong here in Texas. Two guys I have the tremendous amount of respect for here on the show. I'll tell you what, we got to take a final timeout. More here with Chaser Crouch here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. And of course, coming up next week, we'll have exclusive draft coverage. Still trying to work out the time. My buddy Jeremy Branham does a show called The Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 in Houston, Texas. We'll have more about the Texans, the Cowboys, and of course, draft coming up April 27th from Kansas City, 7 o'clock too as well. And the place I love partnering with those guys. ESPN 97.5, 92.5 do tremendous, great sports talk radio. And it is fantastic. Jeremy Branham here on the Backstage Pass coming up next week. We'll have one more from Chaser. We're still going to kind of break down FM Station, which was a single they put out in 2022. And, of course, we'll have a performance coming back here following the timeout here. Our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Gentle Ben Spirits and, of course, Honky Tonk, Texas. Coming right back, more with Chaser Crouch here. It is the Backstage Pass. Hang tight. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back here on the show again, it is the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Don't forget, coming up Monday, April 24th, definitely going to have a great show. Randall King here on the Backstage Pass coming up on Monday. Some great shows coming up over the next few weeks. You don't want to miss them as we build our calendar into May. I cannot believe we're saying the final week of April is coming up next week and into May. Some great shows. Randall King here on the Backstage Pass coming up on Monday. I was just at his one-year performance to the exact date at the Grand Ole Opry when I was at CRS in Nashville there back in March, and Randall blew it out of the water as he always does there. Definitely at the Grand Ole Opry too as well, no doubt about it. Back here with Chaser Crouch on the show, presented by our friends over there at Bangtail Whiskey, our friends at Gentle Ben Spirits, and of course Honky Tonk Texas out of Silsbee, Texas down here too as well. Current single is Born to Ride. We'll talk a lot about FM station here in just a little bit, but I guess if I had to pick one here, would Hell of a Night be the choice of what you're going to play, or is it another one?
I mean, I can play a brand new one.
Let's do a brand. I like that. See, I don't know if I could go that far without something that's been released yet, but hey, brand new one. Let's go that route.
You know, people always they worry about stuff. It seems like that hadn't been released, and like I could understand where, but like at this point, like I want people to see what I got coming, so it keeps them tuned in. Later on, that I don't know when this will be released. I haven't even started in the studio or gotten to that point yet, but I just finished this one up, and this is my first love song.
All right,
that I have acquired. That's so far I like it pretty good. It's called "Be Mine." Stars are out, moons climbing high. There's nothing in the world to worry us tonight. It's just me and you under the moon, with the blankets laid out and candles all around. Been waiting on this for 6 months now, just to get you here by my side. Never knew you could shine like this at night. Maybe just wrap your arms around George Strait's plate, turn it up loud, carry your love with me tonight. Forget about it all till the morning light. There ain't no other place that I'd rather be, just here with you. And you and me for the rest of our lives. Baby, be mine, yeah. Be mine. Now we're out here with crickets and the frogs, dancing along slow country songs, shining in the headlights of my truck. There's a sparkle in your eyes that I've never seen, the way your body's swaying with me. I know I'm right where I need to be. So let's keep moving with the sweet melody. Baby, just wrap your arms around George Strait's playing, turn it up loud, carry your love with me tonight. Forget about it all till the morning light. There ain't no other place that I'd rather be, just here with you, you and me for the rest of our life. Baby, be mine, oh yeah, be mine. Moon's on the ground, the sun's on the rise, you're still in my arms, holding on tight. I don't think I could ever let you go. So baby, just wrap your arms around George Strait's playing, turn it up loud, carry your love with me tonight. Forget about it all till the morning light. Ain't no other place that I'd rather be, just here with you, you and me for the rest of our lives. Well, baby, be mine, yeah. Well, be mine. Well, baby, be mine, yeah. Be mine. Baby, be mine.
Yeah, I like that one too. You said you think you like this one too. I said I'm digging it, and I tell you what it had too a little bit is we're back here with Chaser Crouch on the Backstage Pass. You got this little, and I'm gonna compliment you for this too because I think he's one of the best vocalists of all time, and you're right there with him. You got this little Justin Moore thing going on with you when you sing. So I'm just throwing that out.
A little bit right there on that one. I never thought about it, but which I did. I used to listen to a lot of Justin Moore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I used to listen to a lot of Justin Moore.
But you got your own unique thing going on there too. But it's often it just kind of pops off the page, and that did with a song like that, especially that brought aside your vocals, and of course a little bit of what he did back in the day too, as well as what he's still doing even today, remaining as one of the powerhouses on the national side of things too as well. Well, I tell you what, hey, I'd love to finish up and do some stuff like this, rapid fire, just have fun with some stuff on some fun questions. But I do want to break down FM Station with you too, and kind of get a little backstory of that one from last year. When things kind of started to open back up about summer and I think on into the fall. You guys were kind of busy with FM Station. Give us a little backstory of that one.
So that one, I broke up with my girlfriend, a little bit before that. Well, she broke up with me, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a rough time. I'll just say that.
Okay.
And that's where some of my, where that song kind of came from, because like I knew that we weren't meant to be together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew it, but at the same time, like I didn't want that to be. And FM station is my mind's racing like the FM station pulling me back to you. It's like every time I get in the truck, it seemed like didn't matter if I was playing music off my phone or just playing the radio.
Mm-hmm.
It would always pull every song that would play every time I got in the truck would be a song that we listened to together, or that whatever, that something reminded me of her, or just a situation that
mm-hmm.
I was in, and like it would always pull me back to her, draw me back to her. But then my heart was telling me, it's like, no, like we're not gonna be together. We can't be together anymore. We're not a match. And it just kind of talks about that, and then towards the end, kind of getting over it, and it's like now my mind's racing like the FM station, searching for something new. So
mm-hmm.
I'm looking for I guess you could say like searching for a new song to listen to, a new story, a new a new way. I
mm-hmm.
want something different. I'm going to get out of that loop that I'm in, and it just. It's just a good breakup song. I mean, that was the whole idea of it, and I co-wrote that with some buddies of mine, And it was kind of funny how it happened. That song was written over the course of a weekend, but the only times we were really writing and working on it was between like 1 to like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, I had some buddies down to the house for the weekend, and you know, we'd have the fire going, and I'd have a bunch of people out at the house, and we just sit around the campfire and work on it a little bit, and then we go sit in the house and work on it more. But at one point, I passed out asleep, and it was just me and this other boy, and we're sitting there just knocking lyrics out. We're like, we're gonna get this finished, and sure enough, we finished. We changed. I think I might have changed a little bit in it, you know, from the original song the way it was, but it stayed pretty much the same. And a lot of people say that they like that. I got, you know, a lot of people that'll text me and say I listen to this song nonstop on repeat. You know, even my buddies like here back home, you know, they're kind of they you know, they always giving me talk trash to me and stuff, and you know, they're not going to tell me that my music's great right to my face. They're always going to talk trash and mess with me all the time. That's just kind of how we communicate. But one of my buddies told me the other day, he's like, I'm not gonna lie, he's like, when you released FM Station, I had that song on repeat 24/7. Every time I got in the truck, repeat FM Station, and he could repeat every word to that song. So that's a pretty cool thing when, like, you know, your close buddies and stuff are like enjoying the music that you're putting out.
That's a cool feeling, no doubt about it too. And it definitely gives that validation to what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing too, as well. Especially when friends and family can enjoy it. Any more people that come on and kind of grasp in the same thing and connect to the song, it's just extra icing on the cake there, and just making that fan base too out there, which is the Chaser Crouch of fan base. Hey, let me ask you about this. I love to do this because I'm into a couple of shows now, but part of my rapid fire, so I love to have fun and just say, what do you get into when it comes to binge watching? And we talked about sports at the beginning. That's kind of my escape, as music is too. But right now I'm watching a lot of baseball. But what do you get into? Sports on TV, or are there some other binge watching shows that you enjoy?
You cut out a little bit. You asked something about sports, wasn't it?
Yeah, and as far as watching TV, is that kind of saving grace? Do you watch football, baseball, basketball, or is there other shows on TV that you get into, like to binge watch?
Well, I don't really, you know, as far as sports go, and I think I heard the question right. I'm like, my service is getting bad again. I heard a little bit, but no, I really don't pay attention to sports too much. I think that's what you're asking. Like, I don't really have a team. I don't really like. I don't know. I don't watch sports. I don't really. I used to play baseball when I was little, but even then, I didn't even like watch baseball games or anything.
What other shows do you get into? As far as I know, like different TV shows, do you binge watch?
Oh, shoot! There's a ton. I know for a while there we were watching. We kind of have movie nights every other night at my place. And a bunch of my buddies, they all come over and we watch Outer Banks and stuff.
That was good.
A couple other TV shows, but I'm not really into any series right now that I'm watching. But I mainly just watch movies late at night and then I go to sleep.
They make you go to sleep too, no doubt. What about favorite foods? What do you get into? Do you like to cook? Do you like to eat out? What's some of your favorite foods?
Whataburger. You always got to do Whataburger. I mean, we're in Texas. Whataburger is you always got to do Whataburger. But I love a good steak and jalapeno poppers. But HelloFresh, I've been getting into some HelloFresh here recently.
It's pretty good.
And you know, they send you like 2-3 meals a week. You know, you can customize what meals you get. And I do like to cook a lot, so my fridge is full of HelloFresh because I don't cook them fast enough. So like I just got like meals for like a solid week if I wanted them. But yeah, HelloFresh is pretty good. I need a sponsor.
We need some. Yeah, they're pretty good too. We need some sponsors on there too. They're actually it's pretty good. We've had it before, not in a while, but when it first came out, we'd do the same thing. We customize it and leave all the food kind of in the fridge for like a week there, and have to make it before it went bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really bad at following instructions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'll read it and skim through it and kind of get the gist of it, and I just make it up. I just start throwing stuff together, do it my own way. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes I put a little too much seasoning in there. It'll say half of this now and half of it later, and I'll dump the whole package of it in, and gets a little spicy at times, but for the most part, it's pretty good.
Which is good there too. Well, I tell you, you put some spice on it, some cayenne pepper, and also some Tony Sashers, whatever you want to call it, man. But I know you're taking off to the moon. It's just cool to see young artists. You're the reason I do this program for up and coming artists like yourself to really realize the dream and what is plausible out there. And I love the fact that it's songs like that you mentioned for us there that are just really, really good. The ones we've talked about here on the broadcast. Make sure you guys go check out all these songs we talked about today with FM Station, of course, Hell of a Night, and the current single, Born to Ride, and check him out at chasercrouchmusic.com. Chaser, pleasure to get to know you, my friend. Best of luck. Ride the single to the top of the Texas charts. Hope you had a great time, and looking forward to doing this again, my friend.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I had a blast.
You got it, man. Chaser Crouch, Born to Ride out there. And, yeah, no doubt. I know expect big things from you, making bold predictions here on the show. I can't wait for more great music to come out there too as well. Maybe get out to a show at some point here in Texas and get to meet you in person and have a drink or two. Just good.
Oh yeah.
And I would say, don't threaten me with a good time, right?
Yeah, don't threaten me.
No doubt. Coming up Monday here on the show, the great Randall King here on the Backstage Pass, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, Honky Tonk Texas, Gentle Ben Spirits. All that makes this possible to put these shows out to you on a daily basis. We couldn't do it without those sponsors. And I'm with Chaser. If HelloFresh wants to come on and support his music and my brand, somebody's listening, hey, go for it. Like I said, don't threaten us with a good time. We'll definitely do justice for your company too as well. We'll see you guys Monday with Randall King here on the Backstage Pass. Until then, have a terrific weekend. And of course, next week, ESPN 97.5, 92.5. Jeremy Branham is going to be here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com to get you ready for the NFL draft next week. What will the Texans do at number 2 and number 12? That's kind of the aura going on around here right now. Nobody knows, or at least have some insight on the NFL draft. We'll talk to Jeremy about that from the Killer Bees, noon to 3 on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. From all of us here at the Backstage Pass, have a great night. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you soon. Take care.